Namaste, mes enfants. Hello. Right, debt. All right. Quite a nice one, this, from Haver Analytics. All the debt that ever there was, da-duddly-dumpty-dumpty-dum. Government debt, everyone goes on about. I think the idea here is that's the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg. Underneath in blue we've got business and bank debt, and black at the bottom is household debt. And if you add up all the iceberg from tippity tip to bottomy bottom, the UK is the winner at 497% of GDP, just ahead of Japan. Surprisingly, Spain comes in next. Now, everyone says Spain's absolutely fine because it's got such small government debt. But the problem there is in the businesses and the banks. The business is basically house building, construction business, and banking debt is the lending to those construction businesses. And all along through France, who's next again, the AAA rating of France is so crucial. Italy, who's really causing trouble at the moment, and the rest, South Korea, United States, Germany, and Canada. Obviously there are more, but that gives us a damn good idea, and certainly is not very good looking for the United Kingdom. I don't know if they'll ever get over 500%. I think it's actually going down now, but that's a pretty impressive performance to be beating Japan. FT Alphaville gives us US Treasury ponders new debt security, which I'm putting in because it's vaguely interesting. The United States Treasury and Wall Street dealers are set to discuss whether to introduce a new debt security to help finance the mounting budget deficit in the coming years. The new floating rate notes differ to normal fixed rate treasuries, which pay the same coupon throughout their lifespan, in that payment would go up or down as the Federal Reserve changed short-term interest rates. So the Fed puts the interest rates up and down, and the amount that you got from your bond or note or bill or whatever it's meant to be goes up and down with it, just to make life complicated. But it's an idea, shows their thinking. Right, Euro leaders said to count on further ECB bond purchases. This is Bloomberg reporting. Euro area leaders are counting on the European Central Bank to continue buying troubled countries' bonds as a key element in the new debt crisis rescue package to be hammered out today. Three people familiar with the deliberations said what we have here is Euro area leaders are counting on the ECB to continue buying troubled countries' bonds. Is the phone call from the retreat where the parents have gone to saying, I know, but no, look, you're there, you're in place, I'm counting on you, just keep looking after those children. Not too many sweeties, but they've got to go. Bye. They're still pulling that one, and the ECB is kicking and spitting feathers about it. It really doesn't want the job still, but it's still doing it. Martin Wolf in the Times, be bold, Mr. Draghi, put out that fire. Now, Draghi's going in to replace Trichet at the head of the ECB, looking after the children. And Martin Wolf, as I noted last time, has kind of given up on the whole Euro political thing, and basically says, look, it's down to the ECB or nobody. It's quite obvious that the politicians who are still on retreat and making phone calls and having meetings among their friends and trying to sort things out and trying to get their heads together. The ECB is in charge. So it's Dear Mario, congratulations and commiserations. Next week you will take up one of the most important central banking jobs in the world, but you will also bear a frightful responsibility. The European Central Bank alone has the power to quell the Eurozone crisis. You must choose between two paths. The orthodox one leads towards failure. The unorthodox one should lead towards success. And basically, the orthodox one is that they're not in charge of the children. They pull out from the children. They go home. The unorthodox is they stay there and feed the children sweeties, print up money, and just do what is necessary. Now, at this point, the balance sheets of, let's say, the Fed has gone up, I don't know, 3 or 4 times since this crisis. The Bank of England's trebled. I think the ECB hasn't even doubled yet. But it's not allowed to. But I've been into that so many times, I won't push it again. Their strictures are it can do what it's allowed to do. And what it's doing at the moment, it's just been conned into. But printing up money and doing that sort of thing, debasing the currency, if we can give it some thought, how can I do this? Let's go to America. Now, the Austrian stroke free market, whoever they are anyway, Peter Schiff and those sort of small-minded people keep going on about how the dollar has been is only worth, 3 cents from what it was worth when the Fed was introduced in 1913. Which, if you look at the right charts, it's absolutely true. But the question is the standard of living better than it was in 1913? Is it better than it was in 1979? Does it really matter that the money has been debauched as long as the standard of living is maintained? And that's the question that there doesn't seem to be any answer for. We certainly can't say that the standard of living has been reduced by 97% since 1913, can we? There is something else going on that has to be factored in and thought about. Right, that's enough of that. Right, over in Europe, the PMI for Europe is out. And this goes back to 1999, but we're really looking at the business end. And France is the horror show. Just 6 months ago, it was really doing very well indeed, but it's just absolutely dropped off a cliff and is going down horribly. The green one is the rest of the Eurozone, including the periphery, and this is a big chart. I mean, the next line down is 40, so it's down below 45 now, and Germany has just gone like a cat being thrown into water on that 50 line, refuses to go into contractionary below the 50, but even so it's very close to that. It's only just in expansion. And interestingly, seeing we're here, look back in the past for 2001, 2 and 3, and it's basically Germany that was in the poo back then. Countries go through cycles of doing things good and bad, and it was at this sort of time that Germany was breaking the Maastricht rules by overspending governments. But now they're doing better and preaching to everybody how good they are, and everyone should do what they do. Anyway, over in Asia Pacific, Financial Times, India raises rates amid growth warnings. Now, the Central Bank of India has raised interest rates to 8.5% because, as I said in an older one, their inflation rate had got up to 10. But I had also been noting that other BRICS and emerging markets had been rising their rates up until about 6 months ago, 3 months ago, and started lowering their rates again as a fear of a world recession came on. But India is raising rates into what might be a world recession. A very delicate balancing act for central banks. Not easy, not easy. And time will tell to see whether they quite did it right or not. Finish with commodities in the Financial Times. Swing in WTI price curve leaves oil traders reeling. I touched on oil on Monday, didn't I? Bullish physical oil traders, who have been warning for months of a tightening market, have so far won the game against bearish macroeconomic hedge funds. So the hedgies have been betting that the price of oil will go down due to this double dip world recession type thing, but so far they have been wrong. And I noticed Tuesday was a very strange day for oil. It was up 3% WTI at one point, hacking around the 93 and a half dollars a barrel, which is a very elevated number for all these rumors of recession. And we note at the bottom here anyway that, let's just go to the bottom, for the first time since the start of the global financial crisis in September 2008, the cost of WTI crude for immediate delivery is higher than the forward contracts. In other words, you've got to pay more now than you would if you offered a price in 3 months, 6 months' time. I believe that's called backwardation, where it's been in contango up until now. And that kind of tells you that in the present oil market, there is a struggle to get hold of the gear. There is sale and demand, and there is more demand than there is gear out there to be bought. And because of that, they are bidding up the price. They need the stuff now, the barrels of oil, and are having to put more money on the table right now to get hold of it. Yeah, okay. I haven't got it up here, but I'll do the thing. So that doesn't help me. It was in the New York Times. Yeah, I'll find it. And they've done a very long article about how there isn't going to be any sort of shortage of carbon-based fuels. Very long article telling everybody that reads the article that everything is just fine. And it makes me scratch my head why they do this so often, these mainstream newspapers. I just don't quite understand it. It doesn't seem totally responsible because they can't know. That's the basic thing. I don't know if the carbon-based fuels are going to run out, and they don't know that they're going to find enough to supply demand. But I'll admit it, they don't.